Hey everyone, how's it going? Desi's here with another piece of content for y'all. Today I'm going to be playing on my new level 3 necromancer named Severles. So far I've got him a few pieces of twin gear, so we're not completely starting from scratch, but I got the Staff of the Dreaded Gaze, which is just a really nice, good intellect, good mana. It has a nice invoke fear proc. I think it's just a clicky actually. I won't be able to use that until I think around level 30 or so it's still nice just for a stat stick. I got the Robe of the Oracle, which Tevin, the level 55 necromancer, helped me get in Ocean of Tears, which is just another really great robe for good stats, some AC as well. I got the Ruined Circlet in the Tunnel, so some good intellect and AC. The Chip Bone Collar, good mana, good hit points, good AC. And then Karana's Tear was just something I had sitting on my shaman, but you know, I got looks like 1 hit point from that one. So, and then we got the Festering Cloak from Unrest. So good mana, good hit points, 5 AC, Necro only, so works perfect. And I am just in Field of Bone. I chose Necro for this character, just because I have the a Dark Elf Necromancer on Project 1999, which I actually made several videos about. If you want to check out those videos. But I had a lot of fun on the Necromancer, and the class really grew on me on Project 1999, just seeing all of the capabilities for fear kiting and just having the ability to feign death and just really being a very survivable class, especially with the life taps and all the utilities as well that come with like being a mana battery if you're in a group. So just some cool components that I didn't really know Necromancers had the capability of, and they're just another really fun solo class. I love soloing. I love just being able to sit in a camp, play for as long as I want or as little as I want, and just be able to pack up and just log off whenever. And I guess that's kind of something I want to talk about in this video. This video, I mainly intended to just be kind of like a stream of consciousness, which honestly most of my videos are, but just without any like outline to follow. And so I guess a thing I wanted to talk about was like solo play versus group play and like kind of the pros and cons that come with that. Especially on like Project Core and Project 1999, group play is definitely the most optimal route of XPing and getting loot and, you know, just socializing and working with others. Ooh, we got some good ads here. And I think with that, that's a big facet of the game that I do enjoy. But on the other hand, I do enjoy having just the freedom to just quit the game whenever. Like say I want to just do something, you know, I want to make food, I want to go for a walk, or just do anything else besides play EverQuest for a bit. I think like playing in a group sometimes, I feel constricted to staying in the group. And, you know, you want to be courteous and help find replacements and everything, so that's just something that always kind of is on my mind when I'm in a group. Like I feel like I have to commit a certain amount of time to playing, and honestly I'm not a big fan of that dynamic in video games. I like video games where you can just, you know, play for 5 minutes if you want to, and I think that's a big alluring oh my god, I'm getting way too many ads. I don't know if I'm gonna survive this. I gotta just start life tapping like crazy. Yeah, let me just get some life taps in here. Try to, at least. Jesus. There we go. Yeah, I'm not getting anything to land. Okay, we got this. Ooh, I just hit him for 12. Oh yeah, easy. We're destroying. But yeah, that's one thing I really liked about Project Lazarus was I have this 6-man group, and I can log all of them in whenever, and I can literally log out whenever. There's no pressing like reason to stay logged in, or, you know, it's not difficult to log out or anything. And I think that's something that's just personally important for me when I play games, and that's I think why I tend to stray towards solo friendly classes more, because I just like having the capability to just kind of play on my own terms in my own time, and log out whenever I want. Okay, yeah, I gotta spam life tap. I'm getting a little bit low here. Getting a little nervous. Oh, there's 2 of them on me. Alright, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Alright, alright, alright. God, this is getting so sketch. Oh my gosh. We did it though, so far. I can't say we did it just yet, but after I kill this guy, I do not want to get any ads. Oh yeah. Sweet. But yeah, that's just like a little bit of my rambling for just what I like in MMOs, whether it be for like soloing or just grouping, because grouping is fun. Like there's a trade-off for both ends of the spectrum. Solo play, you know, you have that freedom to just play on your own terms and stop or start whenever you want, and the XP is pretty efficient, honestly, on these classic servers, because you're just getting all the experience from the mob just for your character, and it's not split between groups, which I think Project Corm is kind of making quality of life adjustments to kind of compensate for that by actually giving bonuses for having a full group, which I think is really cool. But there are some benefits for soloing just mechanically in classic EverQuest, and you do miss out on, you know, the social aspect, the constant stream of XP from just killing tons of mobs in a very efficient group, and, you know, the ability to get valuable loot to drop and roll for it and get actual upgrades that you don't have to spend any platinum for, and just the experience of being in a dungeon in EverQuest is, or just in any camp in general, is just, it's just a fun time. And yeah, that's kind of like the trade-off for just those 2 ways of playing the game. But that's the cool thing about the MMO, is there are multiple ways to play the game. You don't have to group, you don't have to solo, you don't have to do anything, you don't have to play the game if you don't want to. Just don't log in. Like, it's as simple as that. And I think that's why EverQuest is one of my favorite MMOs, is because it doesn't really ask anything of you. There's no systems in the game that incentivize you to play to just kind of meet a daily criteria, like completing a daily or just getting like a login bonus, or like some games have, if you log in 30 days in a row, you get like a reward on day 30, and every single day you get like a little reward. So it just incentivizes you to kind of participate in the game just for that. And I think that's, you know, it's smart to kind of retain players, but it's super transparent to see through. Excuse me. Oh, what's up, man? And EverQuest doesn't do that, especially early on. There just aren't any of those systems that feel like they're trying to grab you and take a hold of you. It's just kind of, the game's there and you're just kind of, you choose to do that if you want to do that. Like, the game's not forcing you to play it, especially on private servers where it's literally free. But anyway, I sound like a broken record because I talk about that a lot, especially for EverQuest. And I think lately, I mean, like, I hit 1,000 subscribers on the channel, but I've been feeling naturally like I want to take a little bit of a break from EverQuest, actually. Just because I've been focusing on it a lot for YouTube, for just gaming in general. It's been like the main game I've been playing. And I don't think there's anything wrong with just, you know, sticking to a game that you enjoy. But I can tell I've been getting a little burned out with the game, like on my shaman. So I think I'll probably take a little bit of a break and, you know, maybe just not play any games for a bit. Like, I'm not gonna force myself to play other games that I don't really care for right now. I know, like, a big game I was playing recently was Baldur's Gate 3, and I got to like the final act, but I kind of just stopped for, you know, playing, like, I think I got into like World of Warcraft again or something, like Season of Discovery. And that's something I kind of wanted to segue the conversation into on this stream of consciousness with low-level Necromancer gameplay and Field of Bone, was just like just the nature of MMOs that aren't so positive versus, you know, games that are single player, or, you know, just a different genre of games. Because I mean, MMOs fundamentally are a time sink, and there's no way to escape that.
I can say all I want that EverQuest is not predatory. EverQuest is the perfect game. Only got one. That's good. And yeah, it's a great game, but it's also still a product of its genre. It's an MMO. And MMOs are a different breed of video game that are fundamentally different from, any of its other contemporary genres. And let's take, for example, single player games. Let's say more specifically The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. So The Witcher 3, you're following Geralt of Rivia, he's the protagonist, and you are playing a direct narrative of a certain part of his story, of his life. And with that, there's leveling systems, there's abilities to unlock, there's gear to unlock and do quests for, and to just find in the open world by killing mobs. Like, it has these fundamental mechanics that you'd see in any MMO. And you can see, like, that's a universality of just the RPG genre. Are those level up capabilities, the grouping, or not the grouping, the loot, just those bare bone mechanics. However, it's a single player game. It doesn't have that social dynamic with other players, and the systems itself aren't intended to be grinded on for hours on end, doing the same monotonous tasks to just get a little bit ahead in the game. Single player games are designed to guide you through the narrative mostly, and give you the agency to explore the world and do side quests if that's what you want. But really to get you from the beginning of the main story to the end of the main story, and kind of assisting you along the way with upgrades that give you that sense of progression, that you're getting somewhere that's palpable and tangible in the story. And MMOs just do not have that. Sometimes they try to. Take, for example, Elder Scrolls Online or Final Fantasy XIV, or I think even the newer World of Warcraft expansions that they're simply more narrative driven, especially in like the main campaigns or the main story quests. They guide you through this very rigid narrative of quest lines and give you gear rewards along the way. So where you basically, if you're playing the game and you want to focus on the story, the game literally won't ask anything else of you. It'll just guide you through the story, give you the rewards along the way that you don't have to think about needing to work on, and just facilitate that nice, rich story experience. However, those games still are MMOs fundamentally. They still have the social dynamics, they still have the raids, they still have the dungeons, they still have the grind mechanics. Like, it's just trying to mimic a portion of what a single player game can just do in its totality, of just being this individual, complete story-driven game that doesn't ask anything else of you besides playing the story. And an MMO has a portion of that, but again, it's just a fragment of that narrative. And so in doing that, it takes away from the narrative, because the game only puts a portion of its, time and energy into that narrative. Because once you're done with it, all right, now the end game starts. Now all of these other mechanics that the developers put a lot of time into to develop the rest of the game are. And I think that's the thing about MMOs, is they try to be everything, yet really become a little bit of nothing, like, in itself. It's like some of these newer MMOs are just spread too thin because they have all these different dynamics, all of these different mechanics, trying to fit in a narrative, trying to fit in raiding, trying to fit in social mechanics, trying to fit in solo-friendly mechanics, trying to fit in all these different classes and all these different spells, but trying to make them feel all homogenized to make every player's experience of the game universal, so every player has the same amount of enjoyment. Or, the developers intend for every player to have that same experience as everyone else, no matter the kind of play style they have. Like, they want to cater to every single person. And by catering to every single person financially, obviously their motive is to get as many income sources as possible, as many players with different unique play styles all coming together and all enjoying the same thing. So it's like a big ass pie full of vegetarian stuff, full of vegan stuff, full of like carnivore diet stuff, full of dog food, cat food. Like, it's trying to just get everyone to eat it, but the pie itself tastes like shit because it's just full of all these different things and all these different preferences, and it doesn't really cater to anyone by doing that. And I think, this long tangent aside, like in just these MMOs in general, we're just seeing games that they just aren't that good. They're not very well rounded. They have leveling mechanics, they have gear mechanics, they have story mechanics, they have different abilities and social, incentives and whatever, but like, they're just not that like fun, and they feel like they're taking advantage of you. Like, at least for me, like when I play a lot of these newer games and try to get into them, I feel like I'm being used by the systems like so transparently. Like, obviously you're being used in some way by, paying for a video game and playing it. Like, you are, you're paying money for this product, and especially if you're playing a free-to-play game where they're trying to get you to pay money for, any little level up, and they constantly remind you. And EverQuest Live is so guilty of this. Like, say you're a free-to-play player, like I am right now. I don't pay for EverQuest Live. I don't really play it, right now at least. And every time you log out of the game, it sends you to, it literally opens your browser and sends you to the EverQuest subscription payment website. Like, tell me that isn't predatory in some way, or, some type of manipulation of the system to where you close this game client and it literally opens up your default browser and sends you to the website to pay for the game. Like, what the hell is that? Like, I think that that speaks so much to kind of the free-to-play genre, especially on EverQuest end for that, and it's kind of similar to if you don't pay for YouTube, which I don't personally right now. I used to when I had a student membership, but not anymore because it's like $20 a month. Screw that. And every time you play a video, probably when you play this video, there's an ad that plays, and there's incentives for that because there's monetization, and YouTube earns revenue from advertisements, but as the viewer, it's just something you have to sit through. And it's just kind of the way the system works. And free-to-play games, they got to follow that same format by getting players, keeping the income up, because these games, like, they're not charging anything up front. And yeah, the more I talk about it, the more it just makes sense on that level. But I want to kind of go back to just like the MMO versus like single player genre, or just let me think here. Like, it doesn't have to be just single player RPGs, but it can be any other genre, really, even battle royales. I know, like, World of Warcraft recently, they had like a battle royale mode. Like, imagine that. Like, you're playing World of Warcraft, but then they literally have a Fortnite mode where you're like, you jump on a map and you just fight each other in PvP. Like, it sounds fun in some ways, but it's like it's just so obviously trying to replicate like the popularity of Fortnite in such an antiquated genre like an MMO. It's just kind of laughable. Like, imagine that in EverQuest, like they add a Fortnite mode in EverQuest, like in like Project Quorum. Like, everyone lands in the Field of Bone pit, and there's 100 people. You just gotta like auto attack each other. I don't know, that just sounds funny as fuck. But yeah, this video is just very rambly, and I guess it's just stuff I gotta get off my chest related to MMOs. So if you're just entertained by my ramblings, or you actually do resonate with like what I'm saying, like I'd love to hear it in the comments below, because I want this channel to just kind of be a window into just my opinions and my perspective of like mostly the MMO genre, just because I find it very interesting, and I find MMOs to be very revealing of the human experience, and like what humans get enjoyment from, what we really fundamentally want in life. Like I think MMOs are a gateway into kind of seeing reality in a different sense. Like, why do we enjoy these monotonous grinds so much? Like, do the children want to go back to the mines? Is that like what's going on here? And I think it's just a very telling facet of society as well, and just our day-to-day lives and jobs that we work that are mostly monotonous. I mean, it depends on what kind of job you have, but it's something that you have to do day in and day out to earn your platinum upkeep, to pay for your rent and pay for your health and food and family and whatever you spend your money on. Like it's but then we go and on our free time and we grind monotonously on this other kind of platform that isn't so different from kind of just like the human monotony of just labor and just putting in time to get small like boosts and everything, but we enjoy it because it's like a fantasy kind of world and it's like a disconnection from the reality that we're accustomed to. And I think there's a lot to learn from that, of what parts of our brains are being rewarded and that we feel enjoyment out of by playing these games. And I think it's a good gateway of understanding ourselves better and applying some of those conditions to real life, and seeing like enjoying life more by understanding what we enjoy more out of like these portal ways of these realities in games. And it doesn't have to be that, it doesn't have to be like that. We don't have to look at video games like that, but I like to look at video games like that, and I like to share my opinions of that on this channel. And I think that's like a big goal for me, is just to understand myself better. And a way for me to do that is, just talking about MMOs, which is a game genre that I've literally played since I was like not even cognizant. Like I've played this game since I was like 3 years old, before I even understood, anything about the game. And how our brains work is, at least I'm not like a psychologist or anything, but when we're young, we kind of see through reality through the lens of like an unawareness of, we don't categorize everything. We're just kind of taking experience and colors and shapes and movements. We're just taking it all in, and we're not really associating it with any reference points, because we just don't really have reference points to put things to. Like it's just all being founded. It's all being put down at the base of the house. It's just the foundation of everything that we're just cultivating and putting things in and assorting our minds from the ground up. And as a kid, I played this game with that perspective. Like Field of Bone, I remember as like a 5-year-old running through this place, not having any context of anything at all, but just seeing trees and just seeing the path and seeing the sand and just all the critters walking around and like the skeletons, and just looking at this video game through just a perspective of blind kind of curiosity. And I think that's a really special thing. And as I, grow older, and as I grew older into my, teen years, and kind of played EverQuest a bit more and understood the mechanics of the game a bit more, to actually kind of participate in more higher level like game participation in like upper level groups, and doing an epic quest, and just seeing the game more through the mechanics that it incentivizes, it created a whole different way of looking at the game. Like, oh, okay, this game is like a puzzle piece, and there's all these little pieces, and there's all these choices that you can make and ways to assort it, but it follows a structural narrative. Like, the game follows this seeming path of order of how to play the game, how to level, where to go, what levels are what mobs, what loot they drop, what stats go to what characters and why, and just seeing the game in a different lens. And I think that's how adults, tend to look at life. We don't look at life as much with a curiosity, like that blind awareness of just kind of enjoying the complete present moment for what it is, and not categorizing things with each other and creating reference points, and just completely living in your mind. And like, that's how I think that's the majority of how humans perceive life, is through kind of how I'm talking about how we perceive EverQuest mostly, is the leveling patterns, the stats, the structural mechanics of it, looking at it as a machine kind of. And with life, it's no different. Looking at our weight, looking at how much money we have, looking at what time it is, and just all of these very rigid mechanics of everyday life that we are bound by. And I've really been kind of like focusing on mindfulness in my day-to-day life and meditating every day. And with that, like, just trying to embrace like a slower mode of living, and really trying to cultivate a better grasp of kind of looking at the present moment without all of those categorizations. And with that, I feel like I'm starting to cultivate like a different way of looking at EverQuest once again in my life. Kind of just seeing past the mechanics once more a bit. Like, it's still difficult because it's it's difficult to change your perspective, and especially like without trying to change your perspective, like just kind of looking at things differently. But in EverQuest, just trying to enjoy the art of it, and just the world that these people created like over 20 years ago. Like the trees, the leaves swaying, like just the sky here. And yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's just learn more about yourself and how you perceive life. And EverQuest for me, and MMOs in general, are just a cool gateway of kind of seeing that a little bit with a little bit more clarity in my own self. And I think that's kind of how I want to wrap the video up, is just kind of, rambling on even more about MMOs. Anyways, like, I hope if you're still watching this video, hell yeah, you're the best. If you like EverQuest content, feel free to hit that subscribe button, punch that subscribe button, roundhouse kick that subscribe button, and also the like button as well. That would be helpful. But thank you very much for watching the video. Have a fantastic rest of your day.